In this particular Python program, we're going to demonstrate the while else statements. Now the while is a while loop, meaning it's a continual loop until it breaks that condition or breaks that particular loop. And I often refer to it as similar to a race car going around and around and around on a race track, unable to stop or exit until a flag or a light comes on, and that is the exit condition. That's the break of that loop. Now, similar to our other programs that we're using for the high program, we have again the name variable that's equaling to a input statement, and that input is whatever you're going to value with via keyboard. And it's going to question us, what is your name? And it's going to expect an input, and they're going to take that input value and it's going to assign it to the variable name. And then we'll look into our logic in this while loop. I did a little bit different. I actually using a not equal command here. Now, a not equal is kind of confusing at first because it's actually expecting an equal, meaning it's going to take the value of that name variable and it's going to compare it to this value, MATT. And while it is not equal to this specific value, that while loop will continue to run over and over again. Now if it happens to be equal to MATT, it's going to break that logic. It's going to break out of the loop, and in this example it's going to fall into the else and simply print out our statement. It's going to print out the string O, and again the plus sign within a string is an adjoining the name variable value in the remaining string. So let's watch this in action. I'm going to run this particular module or this program, and first I'm going to put in a value that is not equal to capital M small ATT. And what will happen is, since it's not equal to this, it's going to continue to loop. And we can continue this all day long. And it'll continue that loop until it equals MATT. And then what happens is it breaks that loop and it falls out, and it goes into our else statement of where you see our initial string. This is why I put a space here. Join our name variable value, which happens to be MATT, with the continuing string. Now we can look at this while else condition a different way. In this particular program, as an example, again similar to name variable, this is now an X variable, and we're going to assign the value 0 to that X variable. And then our logic is going to say, alright, so while the X variable value is less than 10, continue to loop. And within this loop statement, we are doing two things. We are taking that assigned value and we're adding one, okay? And we're also printing out the value of the variable. And what this will allow us to do is see the while loop in action. And then once it meets our condition, when that value is now greater than 10, it will print out the string. That's all, folks. So let's see this one in action. So it went pretty darn quick. So essentially it run right off the bat because we did not put an input value. Input statement. We've already assigned that value to the variable of x equals 0, and that's what it starts out with. And then it says, alright, so let's say 0 is 0 greater than 10. No, we're going to do a while loop. We're going to take 0, the x variable. It says 0 plus 1 it's going to be reassigning that x variable value to a 1, and it's going to print out that x value variable, which is 1. And then it's going to loop, because it has not met the condition to break out of the loop yet. Now we have 1. Is 1 greater than 10? No. It's going to continue to loop. So now x is going to be 1 plus 1, and that'll be 2. Print 2. Is 2 greater than 10? No. And you can see how it will be just continual until it meets the 10. And what actually happens is this is not a greater than or equal. It's actually greater. So it will run until it initially meets 10, and then it'll go, is 10 greater than 10? No. It'll go to 11, and that's when it kicks out. So anyway, so that's what we see here, and this is just an example of the while else statements and conditions that you can utilize it for.